Hello everyone from around the world and welcome to the new life of the living room. I'm Stéphane Koruble, I'm CEO of RTL AdAlliance, and I'm very happy to introduce this exclusive hybrid webinar today. Why hybrid? Because we have people connected from around the world right now, but at the same time we're live from London with about 50 to 70 people, looking at me at the moment, so it's really interesting. Yeah, thank you guys. So, I won't be your host for the day and for this live stream, but I have the chance to welcome a true journalist, Jenny Godula, who will, take us through the presentation today. So, welcome, Jeannie. And could you give us a little bit of background?
Yes, thank you so much for the intro, Stéphane. Welcome to everyone. So as Stéphane said, my name is Jeannie. I am a journalist based in Paris, France, where I not only report on world news, but I also cover a lot of film festivals and a lot of movie premieres. And I'm so happy to be here with you today to discover the new life of the living room. Stéphane, if it's okay with you, can I take over?
Absolutely. Go
ahead. All right. So for the past 3 years, RTL AdAlliance has invited itself into European living rooms to gather quantitative and qualitative data on consumer habits. Their aim is to give you a precise and relevant vision of today's total video world. And that's what we're going to discover together here over the next hour or so. Coming up, we're going to have a very inspiring discussion with two major players in the European landscape. That's Craig Morris from ITVX and Maxime André from M6 Publicité. We can't wait to discover what they have in store, but first, let's roll back to the beginning. Stéphane, tell us a bit more about the scope of your research this year.
Well, first of all, we wanted to have a long-term study. So we've been introducing this study 3 years ago. So that's now the third edition. In order to be comparable, we maintain the same methodology, and you will get to know a little bit more about it through Aurélie's presentation. But of course, over the years, we have added some additional questions to gather more insights about how people were consuming, what they were consuming on the TV screen, and what are the main difference year after year. What we have done this year, though, is we have extended the number of countries, besides the general big EU5 countries, the Netherlands and the Nordics that we have added over the years. We are including now Belgium as a new country and the US. So it's becoming from a European survey, it's becoming a global survey.
So Stéphane, as you said, in just a minute, you'll be handing the floor to Aurélie Brunet de Costus, who's the marketing director here at RTL AdAlliance, and she'll be giving us a real deep dive into all of these findings. But just before you go, tell us what's one big idea that stands out for you from this edition?
So you will get a lot of information, a lot of insights, but one thing that strikes me is this, what we will reveal is a paradox today, and what we call it the paradox of choice. As a matter of fact, and as you can see here on the slide, there has never been so much content available everywhere, like so much fragmentation and so much content available everywhere. But at the same time, it has never been so difficult to access to the content that you want, that fits your tastes. So what we'll try to do today is to give some insights and solutions to publishers, how to stand out, and also to give clients and advertisers some solutions about being more effective in reaching their consumers.
And of course, freedom is what drives us. It seems like in today's world, we really want it all, don't we?
I think we want it all, absolutely.
All right, we want it all, as you're about to discover through this iconic and perfectly illustrated ad. Choice is super cool, or as you're about to see, as they say in Germany, super geil.
Super süß, super sexy, super easy, super geil, super Leute, super lieb, super love, super geil, super Uschi, super Muschi, super Sushi, super geil, super heftig, super deftig, super lässig, super geil, super fit, super fresh, super Lifestyle, super geil, super Power, super stark, super Markt, super geil, super Knister, super Knusper, super Snack, super geil, super Freunde, super spritzig, super Party, super geil, super Optik, super chillig, super geil. Super Sonntag, super Montag, super lazy, super geil. Super crunchy, super tasty, super crazy, super geil. Super fruchtig, super lecker, super smooth. Es ist super geil, richtig. Super geil, ich find's super geil, denn du bist super geil. Es ist super geil, richtig. Super geil, ich find's super geil, denn du bist super geil. Sehr, sehr geile Sachen, ja. Bio ist auch sehr, sehr geil. Sehr geile Bioprodukte. Toll.
Super Guy. And we are now joined on the set by someone who is Super Guy herself, Aurélie Brunet de Courceux. Hi, Aurélie. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good. I'm super happy to present with you this third edition.
So you have really been able to look at this paradox of choice inside real living rooms. And the choice we're talking about concerns the content and the devices that we watch it on. Tell us.
Yeah, exactly. I think when we're home and we are about to watch video content, we want to be able to choose with which device we want to watch it. And here we're not talking about, it can be linear TV, it can be SVOD, it can be YouTube, whatever. And I think what we can see that in Europe, we tend to favorite the big set in the room, right? Whereas in the US, the smartphone and the TV sets are at the same level.
All right, so given that, what else do we want?
Well, we want to choose the device, yes, but we also want to watch all kind of platforms in our TV set. And for that, we need a smart TV. And it's very interesting to see the development in the last years in Europe. So when we first started the new life of the living room in 2022, we had 71% in the declaration of smart TV ownership. And now it's 78%, so at a comparable level with the US.
Mm-hmm. So what are people watching on all of these devices?
Right, so here what you see is the declaration of weekly views on the TV set, right? So it's very fragmented. It's also very interesting to see the huge difference between Europe and the US when it comes to AVOD FAST. So just to mention FAST is free ad-supported streaming television, which might not help to understand what it is, but brands like Pluto TV, Rakuten, Samsung TV Plus, just to give a few examples, and hopefully it will, sound familiar. And there are a lot of reasons why it's so powerful in the US. One of the reasons is that they have very well-established players, such as Roku.
So what are the biggest trends that you've seen?
Yeah, so on all the platforms you've seen, the one that is really picking up is the broadcast VOD on VOD. It used to be 37% back in 2022, and you can see it's now 47%. So that's quite an impressive trend. And we think it really comes with a massive investment that the TV broadcaster have put into those platforms. So they used to be really broadcast VOD, meaning it was, the live and the catch-up from the linear TV channels. But they are so much more now. They have become destination platforms, so to say. So you can find third-party content, you can find fast channels in there. You can even see, you can get access to podcasts, for example, on RTL Plus in Germany, or soon M6 Plus in France.
Right, and we're going to be talking a lot more about that with our guests a little bit later in the show. But it does seem like in the midst of all of this new and scattered content that linear TV is actually coping rather well. It certainly looks to be very resilient. How do you explain that?
Well, yeah, it is very resilient. I think it's good to see that it's the first choice for the Europeans. When they turn their TV set on, they first go to see what is the content available on the live linear TV. Yeah, it's very different in the US, right? We know that traditionally the linear TV has been less strong on that market. And there are a lot of reasons. Of course, there are a lot of free-to-air channels, very qualitative, but also because it offers all kinds of genres, right? You have the most choice when it comes to genre. You can watch, of course, sport, you can watch news, you can watch movie series, and so on. So we really believe that's why TV is so resilient.
Right, so there are multiple contents, multiple screens, and it doesn't stop there because there's another layer of choice in all of this, and that is with or without ads. What are the options when it comes to ads?
Yeah, absolutely. So now the choice is even more complex, right? So you can choose to watch without or with fewer ads, paying a little bit, or just like accepting the ads and have the content for free. It's very interesting to see that the platforms are converging on that point. Everyone wants to offer the choice to their viewers. So the BVOD platform, we used to be advertising funded only. Most of them are now proposing some subscription tiers, right? And the other way around. So the SVOD platform, of course, we know that they used to be subscription only. They are moving into offering ad tiers. The latest one would be Disney Plus in November 2023, not on all European market, but on a lot of them. And very recently, Amazon Prime Video is now putting some ads as well.
Right, so here we can choose again, but I guess the real question is do people want ads?
Well, that's what we try to figure out in our survey. And this is really interesting to see the big cultural difference between the US and Europe. So when it comes to ad tolerance, here what we ask the people is like, how would you rate the ad on a scale from 0 to 5? Does it annoy you to see ads on those different platforms? And here you see the answers of people saying, yeah, it does irritate me. And you can see that the maximum in the US is 38% with YouTube, when it starts only at 41% in Europe with AVOD fast channels. So yeah, that's quite a big difference.
So US viewers then are open to ads, is that what you're saying?
We thought so, but it's very complex actually, and there is a lot of confusion. People are starting to feel very much confused on what they want, actually, when they are offered the choice. So here you see that half of the US respondents, they agreed with two very different statements, saying, yeah, I prefer to pay and not see ads. But they also agree with the statement saying, well, I prefer to see the ads and watch for free. Mm-hmm. A lot of confusion, actually, on this.
Right. So then how does that translate for Netflix, for example, or for Disney Plus's ad tier options?
Yeah. Actually, there is still room for margin for the ad tier of Disney Plus and Netflix, and especially in the US. 44% say that they are, willing to go for those ad tier options. What we also see that in Europe, the enthusiasm is more moderated, and only 9 or 10% would say that they would definitely like to go for the ad tier options.
So we can choose our devices, we can choose our content, the platform, with or without ads. So with all that choice, isn't that enough to make people happy?
Yes, I think we are happy to have the freedom of choice, but it's not so easy. And that's what we would like to present today, the paradox of choice.
Okay, so what exactly is the paradox of choice?
Yes, right. So it is a concept that was presented 10 years ago now by an American psychologist, Barry Schwartz. And I think it's very easy to understand because we all live when we feel overwhelmed by the quantity of options. And I think, when you are, for example, in the supermarket and try to figure out what, butter you're supposed to buy, but also when you're at a restaurant, going through 10 pages of menu and you're like feeling totally lost. So I think we all know what it means that, feeling frustrated by the quantity of options that are on the table. And so people are trying to feel a bit lost and frustrated, actually, with all the choice that they have.
So how do you know how much choice is enough?
Well, I think that from what we see with the new life of the living room is that we came to that point very clearly where people are starting to say, well, I do feel lost in front of the number of video content options. That's 60% of the European agreeing with this statement and 64% in the US. So I think we came to that point, right, when we feel overwhelmed.
And there was a report from Nielsen last year that talked a bit about that as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think there are a lot of ways to illustrate this explosion of content we all go through. in the recent years. So exactly, there was a Nielsen report covering 5 markets globally. So there was US, Canada, there was Mexico, and there was Germany and UK in there. And actually, we now have 2.7 million, roughly, video titles to choose from on those markets. So that 1 million more than in 2021. So I think that's a good illustration of, the quantity of content available, I would say.
Right, but it's confusing because it seems like all that choice would be a good thing. So why is it problematic?
Well, it's starting to be problematic for the media industry because actually certain people, and still with the Nielsen report, 20% of the viewers say sometimes they feel so overwhelmed, they lose 10 minutes, to go through all the menu, all the options to choose the content, and 20% say that they often desist, and they do something else instead. So for the media industry, it might mean at a certain point that we start to use eyeballs.
And what about the advertisers?
Well, the advertisers, we know, are trying, they do their best to follow the consumer, in their media journey. So of course, what it means for the advertisers is that their media spends and it's becoming very complex, right? And you can be L'Oreal, you can be, a big agency network. The truth is that you will never have enough experts to assess accurately all the options, right? And to make the best choice. So that's a reality now.
So fortunately, you didn't come here with just this paradox of choice, but also with some ideas on how to overcome it. So how can we give viewers and advertisers a little more power in all of this? Like, what are the key factors to helping them choose?
Well, I think the advertisers we deal with, we present 3 main drivers of choice. So there is the simplicity, there is strong brands, and there is trust. So I know some of you will already be thinking, yeah, I'll choose simplicity, right? But this is not a pick and choose menu. As an advertiser, you really have to pay attention to all 3 drivers. And I would start with simplicity, which I think is the first one that comes to mind, both for the viewers and the advertisers when they have to make a choice.
Okay, so let's start there. How can we make things simpler?
Well, a first tendency in the media industry is the bundling of offers. So to make it very concrete, if I take the example of Canal+, they are becoming aggregators. That's what we mean by bundling the offers. So when you go to Canal+, you also have access to Netflix, to DAZN, to Paramount+, so they're putting everything on one place. This is already a quite established habit in the US. We have a recent example with Verizon. They are now offering, the ad tier of Netflix and Max together. But yeah.
And is that bundling enough to simplify the viewing experience?
It's a first step. It's not enough, clearly, and we ran through a very interesting report from Accenture on that point. It's a global report, and they really show that discoverability is key, and we love the buzzword in the media industry for sure. So bundling is one, definitely, but also discoverability. People need more help to find the right content. So what it says is that 60% of the viewers globally say that they are starting to feel very much frustrated, losing time to go through all the platforms, all the menu to find some content to watch. So that one point. The other point is that actually the bundling are not that efficient because 60% say that, they feel that they are paying for some content which is not relevant for them. And the last point is about personalization. By that we mean that the people would like to take their profile and preferences from one service to another to have, the best experience overall.
So it sounds like we need more than simplicity. We need help choosing.
Yes, exactly. And we need freedom of choice. We've seen that for sure. But we also need curation and guidance. And I think...
that's what linear TV is really all about.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what also the explosion of the fast channel I've mentioned before is about, because fast channel are, at the end, digital linear TV. So it's, it's not video on demand, it's live, it's on schedule. That's what you get, you know, when you turn the channel on. And so yeah, there is really this explosion. I think it's a good way to look at it, of the fast channels, that, you know, the people are making the choice to watch that fast channel, but then, you know, they leave the choice to you. They wait you to create the content. They can pause, they can't rewind, and I think that's a good way to look at it.
How does this notion of simplicity resonate with advertisers?
Well, for the advertisers, it's and especially the ones that have to play in different European countries, I would say that definitely what they are looking for is one contact point to make their life easier and not to have to go through all different markets. They are ideally looking for one buying platform to make their life easier as well, and one targeting approach to, you know, not have to deal too much with that diversity.
Right, so we're talking about simplicity, but simplicity, as you said, can't be the only key. Let's move on now to strong brands. What does that entail?
Yes, the strong brands, by that we mean, of course, the top of mind brands, but also the brand that you feel close to, that you can engage with. That's what we mean. And here we had a look at Samsung, because of course they can really see very concretely what's happening in their Samsung TV sets. And it's very interesting to see that we are limited, right? We all know that. We can have, you know, plenty of options to choose from, but actually there is just so much you can take, you know, in your mind. So here they measured that 93% of the time spent is on the top 10 apps, and was really impressed me personally that in a year, the number of apps, you know, you would be using is like a maximum of around 10, but most of the time it's more like, you know, 4, 5, 6 different apps. So very, very few options at the end.
So what's the key? How do these media brands build closeness with their audiences?
Well, definitely, so the content that is locally produced and culturally relevant is key to engage with the audiences, for sure. So you have the sports events, yes, to engage the audiences with, but also the series and the movies. But I think on that point, it's good to have a look at a video showing you, you know, the kind of content we're talking about, and then we'll talk numbers.
Okay, great idea. This is the RTL Image Trailer 2024.
I'm ready. Watch them do.
That looks so exciting. So does it work?
Yeah.
Does local content attract viewers?
It does, yes. The shows you've seen, they attract millions of viewers, so it definitely works. I just want to, you know, I said I would put numbers. I just put 2 numbers. just to illustrate the need of local content I was mentioning. So the first one is, I know there are people listening to us from Italy, so they will be happy to see that we mentioned the Sanremo Festival that RAI has been broadcasting for more than 70 years now. And you can see the amazing result they are getting. So that's the 2024 edition, more than 11 million viewers. And it's not just, maybe people think, oh, that's for the older audiences. Not at all. So it works definitely for all age range. The other example I wanted to raise is a real success for ITV. It was a series launched this year, Mr. Bass versus the Post Office, and a really great success for them. You can see more than 12 million viewers, so I would say, numbers speak by themselves. And why did it work so well? It's because it really resonated with the British audience, because it tackles a huge scandal that took place in that market with the post office and employees being accused of fraud.
All right, let's move on now to the third and final point, which is trust. How is trust in question when we choose what to watch?
Well, trust is definitely very much underrated still, but this is a bit surprising because we all know that it is now a big societal issue, right? So with the development of the generative AI, with the fake news circulating, people are really starting to feel really worried and lost.
And do we see this trust issue across all media?
Well, actually, no, and it's very much linked to the social media platforms. They are seen, this is a study from the US, and they are really seen as the first source of disinformation, right? Because they are not producing the content, it's just circulating. They're trying to regulate it, but it's very difficult. So, social media are really, putting difficulty here on that topic. And well, it's surprising that this still captures so much of the digital ad spend still. So it means that trust might not be that huge of an issue for the marketers. But for us, for RTL AdAlliance, for the publisher, the media partner we work with, we really are there for qualitative content and for fact checking and to really avoid those fake news circulating on our media.
We're going to take a closer look at that right now in practice. This is RTL Deutschland, who actually opened the doors to its fact-checking laboratory for us. Take a look.
Every day we receive a huge amount of information and images. We ask which of them are real, which of them are manipulated, which of them are taken out of context. RTL Deutschland and NTV take a close look at everything. A team of 15 experts checks every piece of content whose authenticity is in doubt.
The task of the verification team is important because we are committed to the truth and only want to report what we can back up with facts. Especially in an age where information is rapidly disseminated and where there's so much of it, it's hard to distinguish between real and fake content.
The war in Ukraine is particularly challenging. In the first month alone, there were around 800 verification requests with regard to the war. Countless videos are published online every day by private individuals. Just like in this video, where a Russian plane is allegedly shot down in aerial combat by the so-called Ukrainian The Ghost, which supposedly looks like this.
It turned out that the video was created with a flight simulator, a fact which the creator admitted quite openly on his YouTube channel.
These scenes of brave Ukrainian citizens confronting tanks, on the other hand, are 100% real. The verification experts found several shots of the same situation and at the same time from different angles. They can also verify the location via satellite images thanks to a nearby railway bridge. These key elements are always important. Another form of fake videos are the so-called deepfakes. With the help of artificial intelligence, faces in videos can be replaced by other faces. Voices can also be realistically simulated. In the case of Greta Thunberg's supposed dance video on TikTok, video professionals had a lot of questions. The experts also do research on the background of users who have uploaded a video. In this case, on the woman who is actually dancing in the video, a woman from England. The verification team checks every video snippet, every picture, every claim. Only after data and facts have been carefully analyzed and checked several times, viewers can be really sure that what they see is true.
That fascinating look at the fact-checking laboratory at RTL Deutschland. Aurélie, how can trust in media impact advertisers?
Well, it impacts massively, actually, and we wanted to investigate on that point with the new life of the living room. And you can see that when a brand is seen or heard for the first time on those different touch points, people tend to put much less trust in social media when they see the brand's social media. 33%, whereas it's 61% on radio and 60% on linear TV.
But how do you convince advertisers that trust is actually worth it?
I think just saying trust means money. I think that's the quickest way. And you don't have to trust me when I say that, but you can trust a media guru. Most of you will know, I guess, Peter Phil. And he runs through the IPA database in the UK to really show the correlation between trust and profitability. It has been increasing in the last 20 years. It wasn't topping 20 years ago, but now it is definitely. So if you want, to be profitable, take care, and pay attention to the trust issue.
All right, I think that is a very, very strong argument. Aurélie, we're coming to the end of this presentation. In just a few moments, we're going to talk more about this with our two guests. But before you go, just what would you like us to remember most about the new life of the living room?
Yeah, right. So freedom of choice really drives us. We've seen that, but we came to that point where we're feeling overwhelmed and a bit frustrated to go through all that video content. Both the advertisers and viewers, they really, go for the simplicity, for the strong brands when they have to make a choice, of course. But we also seen that the advertisers have to be careful because the viewers are asking for closeness as well as trust.
Aurélie, thank you so much again for that overview. Now, it's a very in-depth study. If people want to get more information, how can they do it?
Well, they can go on the New Life of the Living Room website, where we put a brochure that they can download. And of course, if they want to have more data on a single market, a specific social demo, then they can reach out with pleasure.
All right, Aurélie, thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause. We are now going to explore the paradox of choice from a broadcast platform perspective. To do so, we are now going to welcome on the set two major industry players, Craig Morris, Managing Editor at ITVX, and Maxime André, Director of Marketing, Innovation and Communication for M6 Publicité. Let's welcome them. Craig and Maxime,
hello,
welcome.
hello.
Thank you for joining us. How are you both doing today?
Good.
Very good, thank you.
All righty. Now, since you are both players in this new life of the living room, we would like your perspective to enrich our presentation. So we've seen that BVOD platforms have enjoyed a real boost in viewer choice, and you're working to develop these platforms. So how do you explain this progression, Craig?
Well, I think it's fair to say, you only have to look at the rise of the SVODs and linear television viewing, which, by the way, is still an incredibly rude health, linear TV. I mean, much is made of declines in viewing, and it's true, they are declining, and it is more accelerated in younger groupings. But I think it's just a natural evolving of what the traditional linear broadcasters did, which is they reacted. And I was obviously in my case, very much part of ITVX, which took years to craft and release and replace the previous app, which was a bit more just catch up of TV that was on last night. And I think we all realised, I don't think it was just us, I think iPlayer in the UK and other broadcasters across Europe all decided that to really harness younger audiences and play in the VOD space, you have to become a streaming destination, not a catch-up service from linear television. But for me, the secret sauce, if you want to call it that, is linear and VOD together. That gives you a power that the SVODs could only dream of. There's no doubt certain SVOD shows cut through and those services have grown. They're plateauing a bit at the moment, but they've grown a lot in recent years. But when you look at what our broadcasters can do across Europe, we talked about Mr. Bates versus the Post Office earlier on ITV. But even this weekend just gone, 5 million people tuned into Britain's Got Talent, a huge chunk of them on ITVX, because that's how they choose to consume it. And then for the next few days, we get literally millions more views of that programme because people want to schedule it when they want to see it. But if you like, I still see linear as this enormous mass simultaneous reach, this moment that gives you the best publicity for any show.
Maxime, what about for you? Does the strength of the BVOD platform come from this synergy with linear TV?
Absolutely. Linear TV is a massive tool to promote what's on our BVOD platforms. In France, for instance, we have 75% of people who watch on-demand TV program every month, so it's massive, and the synergy is huge because, of course, you can watch your show on demand after the diffusion, but after the broadcast. But what we see growing is also the fact to watch the program before it's going on air, what we call preview. And if you take, for instance, a program we have named Married at First Sight, which is a big success in France, you have 27% of the viewership which is watched on demand, 18% is after the show, and 9% is before the show. So this is growing, and I think it's a very good way to promote BVOD consumption.
Craig, you made significant investments to revamp the platform and to launch ITVX 2 years ago. What was the strategy behind this restyling, and how's it going so far?
Well, I think we realised the previous app wasn't really fit for purpose. It didn't match the ambition we had from a content perspective. But I think what we realised is you can take what we do in linear, we can bring that to the streaming audience, make the UI better, make programs easier to find, harness personalisation, but add to it. We can get into interesting kinds of programming on ITVX that would be harder to land on a big network like ITV1 at 9 o'clock. We look at the linear schedule as giving us these big moments. We call them fireworks. They burn bright. Britain's Got Talent at the weekend or an FA Cup football match. A lot of people consume those on ITVX or watch those programmes. What we then do is show them everything else we've got, and we hold on to those audiences. We call those bonfires. They're shows that you'll come in and you discover we've got your favourite American drama from 5 years ago, and you'll binge on that and you'll watch that daily whilst you're also watching our latest big drama, which you saw advertised during the FA Cup match. So it's very much harnessing the big fireworks and keeping people on the app on bonfires, and that's really important for our advertisers. ITVX has a much younger profile than linear, but it uses those linear moments, it harnesses them, and then because younger audiences tend to consume their TV through streaming increasingly, we've got a much younger profile and we can offer younger skewing programming, and it's very distinctly sort of based in Great Britain, really. We see that as one of our other big plus points over a big streamer like Netflix. They can make some content in the UK, but they're increasingly very global in their outlook. So things like Mr. Bates or we launched a comedy recently set in Liverpool called Gwed. You just wouldn't get that on a big global stream. It's very unique to the UK, and that connects with UK audiences in a special way. X allows us to do that.
Well, let's focus on France a little bit now, Maxime. You're going to launch M6 Plus on May 15th in just a few days. Give us the highlights of this platform.
Well, it's a big improvement compared to our current platform, 6 Play, on 3 key topics. The first is about the content. We aim to triple the amount of content available, the amount of content available from 15,000 hours available to 30,000, and 10,000 will be exclusive to this platform. So this is the first topic. The second one is about technology. We'll have improvement on the search engine with AI functionalities, and we'll also propose enhanced viewer experience. For instance, with the Euro, who will be broadcasted in June, we'll have when you will consume in live, you will have enhanced information on the screen. And distribution is key on the French market and will be available on all CTV, game consoles, and even in connected cars. So it's going to be a huge improvement.
M6 Plus, take a look.
Nous sommes au Yo-Yo, au Palais de Tokyo, pour le lancement d'M6+, notre nouvelle plateforme digitale.
Après le succès de M6 Replay, puis de 6play, c'est donc une nouvelle étape dans la politique de streaming du groupe et qui s'appuie sur notre société Bedrock, qui est une société technologique qui va mettre pas mal d'innovations dans la plateforme.
Une plateforme très immersive, une plateforme où on s'engage et une plateforme accessible partout. M6 Plus contiendra un moteur de recherche basé sur l'intelligence artificielle générative.
On met beaucoup d'ambition pour M6+, dans le futur, beaucoup d'ambition pour toutes les équipes. D'abord d'un point de vue contenu, puisqu'on a maintenant 30 000 heures disponibles chaque année. On veut doubler la consommation actuelle de 6play.
Avec 3 axes. Le premier, c'est beaucoup de programmes sur nos antennes avec un très fort potentiel de streaming. Le deuxième, c'est on va doubler le catalogue disponible sur M6+. Plus de films, plus de séries réalité, plus de jeunesse aussi. Et puis le troisième, des contenus exclusifs pour la plateforme, une version des traîtres qu'on ne verra que sur M6+, la MMA Academy qui va arriver, et puis plein d'autres choses encore, de l'humour, on va beaucoup s'amuser sur M6+.
Le meilleur public de France ici, hein.
Et puis la deuxième ambition, elle est publicitaire, parce que c'est une plateforme qui est majoritairement une plateforme qu'on appelle AVOD, c'est-à-dire financée par la publicité. Et donc on veut tripler nos revenus streaming publicitaires.
M6 Plus va nous permettre d'améliorer notre proposition de valeur et de proposer aux marques un modèle vertueux qui repose sur 3 piliers. Une offre plus puissante et complémentaire à la télévision, des segments data encore plus précis, mais également une amélioration de l'expérience publicitaire. Donc finalement, le streaming, c'est aujourd'hui un modèle créateur de valeur et parfaitement synergique avec la télévision. Et avec M6+, eh bien, nous offrons aux marques une opportunité inégalée d'émerger avec puissance et pertinence.
Donc c'est ça l'enjeu de M6+, la nouvelle plateforme de streaming du groupe M6 qui, j'en suis sûr, va être un très grand succès.
Fantastic. So this explosion of video content, we were talking about this earlier, enabled RTL AdAlliance to raise 3 critical points in viewers' habits: simplicity, attachment to strong brands, and trust. We're going to go through those briefly. Let's start with simplicity. 60% of European viewers, 64% in the US, say they sometimes need help. There's just too much content on offer. How are you aiming to assess that feeling and streamline it, simplify it, Maxime?
So I talk about artificial intelligence and this search engine. It's a way to simplify the user experience. For instance, if you're looking for a cartoon for your 8-year-old daughter, you just write the sentence and you will have some results with the right cartoon from the right length you're looking for. So it's a big improvement. We also have some channels, some fast channels available with pre-curated live content, so you don't have to choose for something, it's just a channel you select as on linear TV. We have a new video format also, which is inspired from Snapchat, for instance. It's a vertical video ad format, and it will be snippets of our contents. So it's a way also to discover content and maybe to watch the whole content. And we also have something different from video, but we'll have a podcast on this new platform, so it's also new contents to discover. So we do our best, you know, to promote this content on the platform, so the user don't lose time choosing it.
Right. Craig, what would you say is the ultimate formula for good content curation?
I think you've hit the nail on the head with the survey, by the way, which is simplifying everything for people. We've reached peak content. I think people are going to make less content going forward and concentrate on fewer, bigger moments that really cut through. And this is really important. By the way, we've done our own research on this and we get the same findings as your survey on this, which is people are overwhelmed. For all the ways that people talk about the streamers and they've got great algorithms that connect you with great content, it simply isn't working. It isn't working because more than half people have this sort of analysis paralysis. They scroll looking for things to watch. So for me, again, it comes back to that earlier point. Concentrate on the big moments. Get the curation right. I think when it comes to algorithms, they've got to look at what you're watching everywhere. You need to bring in data from Barb and other companies. Don't just rely on your own platform, because that's only giving you a slither of what people are actually watching. And if you can get the personalization right, and I think you need strong editorial guidance as well in there, and concentrate on a few less projects and achieve a bit more cut through, it's going to work much better for the programs and the advertisers who advertise within them.
So how can this implemented technology benefit advertisers, Maxime?
Well, the idea is to better understand what our users are doing on the platform. So we will promote, we will implement more content, and so it will be an opportunity, for instance, on contextual advertising, because more content, more diversified, mean more opportunity in terms of contextual advertising. But if you look at also what we can do in terms of targeting capabilities, our users are logged in, and we'll have more users logged in with the new attractivity of this platform. We'll also launch the multi-profile, meaning that within a household you will have different people with their own profile. So it's going to be a new, an enriched opportunity for advertisers to target their user on all kinds of data. It's of course socio demo, but it's also retail media. It's also we can connect advertiser data with M6 Plus data and bring tailored, segmented, clusters. So it's going to be very interesting.
So as we were saying earlier with Aurélie, viewers' tolerance for advertising can vary widely. Is there a way to improve your respective platforms' advertising experience to minimize that audience annoyance?
Yeah, I think the personalisation of adverts, which is very easy to do in streaming, so you're seeing adverts that really you're going to be more likely to be interested in versus the traditional linear model. That's a start, because I think if you're advertising products that are more attractive to you, that you tolerate them longer. I think the great thing about streaming is you can try lots of different ad products. Look at what YouTube have done with sort of short form advertising. And for me, here's the interesting thing, and I think your survey bore this out as well. People don't mind adverts. They like adverts. I was really surprised. We introduced recently pre-roll adverts before our news clips on ITVX. These are clips that are 2.5 minutes long. And I was like, will people sit through a 30-second ad, or do the ads need to be shorter? You know, 90% of people were happy with those pre-rolls and stuck with them, which is astonishing if you think about it. Now we'll work at refining that, but you know, you can actually pay to watch ITVX without the ads. Out of the 25 million people who watch ITVX in a year, only around 1 million people will pay to do that. The vast majority love to watch their TV with adverts in it.
Maxime?
Well, advertising is necessary, so we need to make the best advertising experience for people using our platform. So what we will do, for instance, we will reduce the number of pre-rolls, because we want people to enter into the content faster than before, so we'll reduce. And we conducted research that showed that it's better to have fewer but longer mid-roll, mid-breaks, because it's funny, because it looks like the linear TV experience. Our audience prefer to be with longer mid-rolls than many mid-rolls every 5 minutes, for instance. So this is something we will do, and we also need to work on ad markers to make sure that the ad is coming at the right moment, and it is very key. So for sure, in the future, we will be helped by artificial intelligence to do it, but it's key to make the best experience for the user before thinking about the advertising efficiency.
All right, so we were talking about simplicity. We're going to talk about brands. Viewers obviously are attached to strong brands. We were talking about those top 10 apps or even fewer apps that people watch. What role can local content play in that relationship with viewers, Craig?
Oh, I think it's really important. I mean, the way I see it, as has always been the case in a multi-channel environment, people probably have a handful of channels that they go to when they need something. And the key for all of us is to be one of those channels. Now, having domestic produced content that everybody's talking about, whether it's the last Anton Deck programme in the UK a couple of weeks ago everybody was talking about, or a big football match like I mentioned earlier, or big entertainment shows like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I think we can set the national conversation still. We're big enough to do that, and that's our secret. That's what we've got to keep doing. I think for me it's all about continually producing the best quality content in the market you're in, and know your viewers much closer, because people do love global shows that show everywhere. But sometimes you're in the mood for something that feels culturally closer.
Yeah, it's close to home.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're going to take a closer look at what that looks like with ITVX.
And action!
Bash, bash, bash!
What are you feeling?
I'm excited.
Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out.
You missed me.
I'm on the big stage. I got my crew.
I didn't kill her. I've been framed.
You two just looked at each other like you got a secret.
The party's started. It's going down.
No pressure then.
Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out.
What do you think?
That is gold.
Check it out.
I promise, we will find the person responsible.
This is incredible. This is out of this world. That's quite the understatement.
Show you what it's all about.
Well done. Bravo.
That's why she's the best goalkeeper in the world. All right, Rambler soars into the lead in the national. How good was that?
Show you what it's all about. Check it out.
I, for one, could not be happier.
That was excellent.
The OG is back. Get ready for the greatest reality show on earth.
Roll the tapes, babe.
Check it out.
I am absolutely buzzing.
You're beautiful.
Inventive, tick. Dynamic, tick. Entertaining, tick.
I think it's brilliant.
Just when you didn't think it could get any better.
So, what happens next?
That's ITVX. All right, let's move on now to the question of trust. It was that third pillar that Aurélie was talking about earlier. She was saying that it's perhaps not top of mind enough for market players, even though it should be. Do you agree with that? How would you say it reflects your conversation with advertisers, Maxime?
Trust is key on the French market, and I guess in the UK market as well. I mean, there's two sides for trust. Trust is about the content. In terms of content, we deliver 100% of our content is curated professional video content, so it's a huge advantage compared to some other competitors. And trust is about advertising experience. Our clients are asking for visibility, completions, and attentions on their ads. And we have one of the best KPIs on the market on those three indicators. So, I mean, we are very well positioned in terms of trust on the market.
Just a quick word on trust in advertising?
I think it helps to be a 70-year-old media brand in the UK, and ITV News is consistently rated as one of the UK's most trusted sources for news. So I think, again, that's where our linear heritage and that trust viewers have with the brand really helps us.
Craig, Maxime, we are almost out of time. We so appreciate your insight, your time being here with us today. Just one question before we go. As we look forward to the next edition of the study, what questions would you like to see answered in the next Life of the Living Room 2025?
I think it's, I think it's going to be a very exciting year because we've got ads coming into the SVOD environment. We've got the BVOD scaling up. There's a lot of ambitious content out there, but I think we're also going to start to see some of that long talked about consolidation in the market, maybe fewer brands, less TV shows really being made, so more hopefully bigger brands cutting through. So I'd love to take a deep dive into that in a year and see what that addition of advertising into SVODs and what the different content mix means for what audiences are finding in a year's time.
Maxime, how about for you?
Personally, I would be interested in knowing the average time spent looking for content on a platform, maybe with a comparison between BVOD and SVOD. Is there something? Is there a difference in terms of average time spent?
All right, Maxime and Craig, thank you so much for taking part in this latest edition of this exclusive RTL AdAlliance's webinar. It was a pleasure to be able to share with you all of these new insights and to share with all of you who are watching us from around the world. Now, while we wait for the new 2025 A New Life of the Living Room, you can already deepen your knowledge by finding all the key figures on the study on the website that you should be able to see on screen or coming up in just a moment. And with that, all I have to say to you is have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you.